Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. Thank you for tuning in. In today's episode, I'm talking about defining your team approach. Team is everything. And so I think sometimes we value our team, but we don't quantify the value of our team. So did you know that 87% of private practices that implemented structured team approaches reported increased patient satisfaction scores within 6 months? Teams with clearly defined roles are 2.5 times more likely to meet your revenue goals. Private practices lose an average of $84,000 due to poor team coordination and communication breakdowns. And only 23% of healthcare teams have documented team philosophies. Yet those that do show 40% less turnover. This stuff is real. And so let's start with, what is a team? How do you define your team? What is your core definition of team? So from my vantage point, a team in private practice isn't just people who work in the same building. It's a strategically assembled group of individuals with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose and hold themselves mutually accountable for results. I want to make sure you hear that carefully. We've got a group of individuals. They all have complementary skills. They share a common purpose, and they hold themselves mutually accountable. And one of the pictures I want you to think about is a sports team. So for the sake of argument, we're going to pick on my son, Jonah. So Jonah is an avid baseball player. He just turned 9 years old, so he's young. But one of the things with this baseball team is they've assembled this group of players. And part of that is making sure who can play what positions, who have complementary skills. So Jonah is one of 4 kids that is a pitcher. He is one of 3 kids that can play catcher. He is one of 3 kids that can play first base. They need to be able to rotate, and they all have shared goals, mutually accountable. Hey, man, get that glove up. Hey, throw it a little faster. Hey, I like it right here. All those different things. Why can't we take the data, take the idea of what we do when we play a sport? Why can't we apply that to our private practice owner? What if we had someone that could be the customer liaison, could be the billing coordinator, could be the marketing person, and we had other people, and they would work together, all 3. Okay, this time you're playing this position, you're playing that position. How do we get there? You know what? I know we've got a backlog in patients that need to be seen. Let me go make some calls, whatever that may be. Bringing our team together where there's shared goals, individual accountability, and individual targets as well, unifying the way that we reach our destination. And so there are 4 pillars of a true team. And again, you can disagree, but these are the 4 pillars I came up with for a true team. So first, shared purpose. Everyone understands the why behind the practice. Everyone. What's the why? We all share it. Not that we know it, we share it. And by share it, I mean it's part of our value proposition, our core values. So if you're a mental health facility, you have a shared value. If you're a physical therapy, you have shared values. All of them have that same clear articulated focus. Complementary skills. Each role fills a specific gap in the patient care delivery. whether it's clinical, whether it's administrative, but we all have complementary skills. We're not overlapping. There may be some, but we work together and we complement each other. Mutual accountability. Again, success and failures are shared, not blamed. We all are in this. So when your team loses in the fourth quarter of a football game, so recently I was watching a football game in 2025, and it was at the beginning of the season, and the quarterback, Russell Wilson, for the New York Giants, threw a pick to end the game against the Dallas Cowboys and lost the game because of that pick. The whole team took responsibility. It wasn't Russ's interception. It was, we didn't do enough to get it done. We as a team didn't do enough. And then there's collective results. Individual achievements serve the team's larger goals. So again, those 4 pillars that I want you to really resonate with: the shared purpose, complementary skills, mutual accountability, collective results. So here's the statistics that matter. High-performing teams complete projects 25% faster than fragmented groups. Practices with defined team structures see 31% improvement in patient flow efficiency. Team-based care models reduce medical errors by up to 19%. Really think on that. This stuff makes a difference. So, how do we create a unified team? I like the UNITE framework. Have you ever heard of that? UNITE framework. So you understand individual strengths, conduct skills assessments for each team member, map your traits like tools like Strength Finder or the DISC, create role clarity, and document it with specific responsibilities. So that's our U, understand individual strengths. Then we're going to go into N, nurture shared values. Develop a team charter with core values. Hold monthly value-based discussions. Recognize and celebrate value-driven behaviors. Now, in this N of nurture shared values, what if you created a practice tapestry? And what if the heart, there was a heart in this tapestry, and I'm talking physical, a physical tapestry. There's a heart that is the practice's core value, purpose, mission, whatnot. And every employee has a panel that they sew into this tapestry that has their own core value and purpose that's in alignment with that heart. You feel like you're building something where all of these values are really crucial. It can change the way your team unifies with your practice. So we got our U, we got our N. Let's go to I. I is implement communication rhythms. Implement communication rhythms. Have daily huddles less than 10 minutes long. Weekly team meetings less than 40 minutes. Monthly one-on-ones with each team member. Quarterly team retreats and planning sessions. I, implement your communication rhythms. So we have our U or N or I. What's our T? We train together. Cross-train members in multiple roles. Attend conferences as a team when possible. Implement peer mentoring programs. E, evaluate and evolve. Monthly team performance reviews. Patient feedback integration. Continued improvement mindset. Evaluate and evolve. So we've got understand individual strengths, nurtured shared values, implement communication rhythms, train together, and evaluate and evolve. That is our UNITE framework. So here are some strategies for unity. We've got clarity. Everyone knows their role, responsibilities, and how success is measured. Communication, we have to be open, honest, and frequent dialogues. And then commitment, shared dedication to practices, goals, and patient outcomes. There's one thing I'm going to throw into this, though. In order to unite a team, Every member must take responsibility. I want to say that again. Not just know their responsibility, but own their responsibility. If everyone owns their responsibility, you will unite as a group. And it's so crucial when we're building this unity that we are building a psychological safety. Create an environment where team members feel safe to voice concerns. Implement a no blame policy for honest mistakes. Encourage innovative thinking with calculated risk taking. And so here's my question to you. How do you handle the weakest link on a team? What do you do? I think it's really important that you understand how to handle the weakest link on a team. Rather than look at we are only as strong as our weakest link, let's shift that narrative if you have hired the right person. So here's the deal. What if our philosophy became there's no weak links, only development opportunities? And I know that might sound like Stuart Smalley cheesy. I'm good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. But truly, what if our whole practice stemmed from we hire the right people? If you're hired, there's no weak links, only development opportunities. The traditional weakest link mentality is toxic to your team culture. We want to adopt the fact that we are hiring the right links and we are developing them. So, one of the things I want you to think about when you're trying to hire someone that is underperforming, maybe they are not at the level of our team that needs to be developed. Again, taking that weakest link out of the picture and saying, hey, we get to strengthen this link in our team. I want you to look at the lift strategy. So, the lift strategy is that you're going to listen first, understand the root cause of performance issues. Are these skill gaps, resource limitations, personnel challenges, etc.? Sometimes poor performance is actually a systems problem, just so you know. We're then going to invest in development. We're going to create personalized improvement plans, provide additional training or mentoring, and we're going to assign a high performing team member as a buddy. Then we're going to focus on our strengths. We're going to redirect struggling team members towards their natural talents. Consider role adjustments that better align with their abilities. Sometimes the wrong seat creates the appearance of weakness. And last but certainly not least, we are going to timeline and accountability. We're going to set clear expectations with specific deadlines. We're going to have regular check-ins to monitor progress, and we're going to document everything for potential HR decisions. So lift, listen first, invest in development, focus on strengths, and timeline and accountability. So when to make those tough decisions. So sometimes we hire and it's just not the right fit. And that's okay. Just like you're not always going to be the right fit. And did you know that sometimes someone is the right fit? And as a company evolves and employees evolve, the fit is no longer aligned. So when to make those tough decisions? So first and foremost, I'm a big believer in a 3-strike philosophy. First strike, coaching and development opportunity. Second strike, formal performance improvement plan with milestones. Third strike, role adjustment or separation. The key statistics show that one disengaged team member can decrease team productivity by up to 12%. It also shows that toxic employees cost organizations over $12,800 in decreased productivity. And ultimately, quick action on performance issues prevents 67% of team morale problems. So here are some red flags that require immediate attention. Consistent patient complaints about the same team member, repeated violations of practice policies, negative attitude that spreads to other team members, and unwillingness to participate in team development. And I want to remind you of this analogy that I have mentioned probably more times than you want me to announce, but remember this. Toxicity in the workplace is like Tabasco sauce in your home water system. The minute a drop is in that water system, you can never get rid of it. And it continues to take over the pH of the water. And it often takes several bottles before you even notice it. Don't let your water get tainted. So we need to create team ownership. I love profit sharing programs. I love to tie the success, both individually and practice, to every single member. I want them to feel as though this race car is their car, this vehicle of change is their vehicle, this opportunity of profitability is their opportunity of profitability, etc. Patient outcome, bonuses for achieving quality metrics, team-based decision-making for practice improvements, leadership rotation where team members take turns leading initiatives, all different ways to implement ownership in the workplace. The other thing is we need to ensure if you're managing remote or hybrid team members that you have a system for virtual check-ins, for remote staff, shared digital workspaces, video-first communication for important discussions, in-person team-focused events, etc. And when we are measuring team success, we need to look at patient satisfaction scores, staff retention rates, revenue per team member, patient wait times, clinical outcome measures, team engagement survey scores, all part of that. And so here is a team success formula. Team effectiveness is equal to the skill level multiplied by communication quality multiplied by shared commitment divided by process friction. And I'll say that again. So team effectiveness is equal to skill level multiplied by communication quality multiplied by shared commitment and divided by process friction. So I'm all about mindset. I'm all about the philosophy of who we are, what we represent, one heartbeat, that whole idea. Rah, rah. Do you know I'm a sports guy? I'm a sports guy. But I'm also a theater guy. Did you know that? I love theater. And theater, there is no putting on a performance with 30 to 50 other individuals day in and day out, night in and night out. There is nothing more team oriented than that. And so, as we look at philosophies that we want to adopt and implement, I love the we before me. Teams that prioritize collective success over individual achievement consistently outperform ego driven groups. I love the fail fast, learn faster, create an environment where small failures lead to rapid improvements rather than blame and fear. Everyone coaches, everyone learns. Break down the hierarchy barriers and encourage peer-to-peer development. Patient-centered everything. I'm going to say that again. Patient-centered everything. Every team decision should be filtered through the question, how does this improve patient care? The team's leader's mindset shifts. So really important that we're transforming a manager to a coach, a problem solver to a problem creator, challenging the team to find solutions, controller to facilitator, and individual contributor to team multiplier. So here are some implementation tips for really building this new leadership culture in your company, and team culture, as I like to call it. So in week one, I want you to do an assessment. I want you to survey current team satisfaction. I want you to identify the pain points from your practice. I want you to map current roles and responsibilities, and I want you to identify the skill gaps and training needs. Once we've done that, for the next 3 weeks, week 2 through 4, we're going to start to build foundation. We're going to create a team charter and a value statement done by that team. We're going to implement daily huddles into our routine, and we're going to begin our cross-training initiatives. So that's week 1, week 2 through 4. Now we're going to jump into month 2 through month 3. In month 2 through month 3, we're going to start developing. We're going to launch peer mentoring groups. We're going to implement performance measurement systems. We're going to address any weakest link situations, but we're going to remove weakest link. And we're going to focus on development opportunities. Who, what, when, and why are we developing? Once we've gotten through that, we are now 3 months completed. We are in 4 to 6 month range. So we are month 4 through month 6. We are all about optimization. I want you to refine processes based on feedback. I want you to celebrate the wins of success. And I want you to plan for long-term team development. And so start small. Pick one area to improve rather than overhauling everything. Communicate the why. It's so important to help team members understand the benefits of changes. We must be patient. Did you know team culture? It takes 6 months to solidify, sometimes longer. Sometimes you're trying to move the boat faster than the boat can move. Most of all, you got to lead by example. Model the behaviors you want to see and measure progress. Track your improvements, maintain that momentum, see where the tribe is going. See how the trends are affecting the tribe. So one of the things I want to talk about is a case study today. I figured let's talk about one of the clinics that I recently helped. And I did change all the names. Again, I'm trying to, I never want to air people's dirty laundry. So I try to change certain aspects. So this is loosely based on a company. But for the sake of this case study, the name of the company is Summit Physical Therapy. And we decided to get involved and help them build a new team-based culture because their challenge was they faced 65% turnover. 65% turnover. And the thing with Summit was they grew too fast and they didn't have any infrastructure. They were like, oh my God, there's a need. Here we go. Bah, 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 bah. We just hired 15 therapists. We're rocking and rolling. We're the biggest. We're the best. We're the this. And behind the scenes, people were pouring Tabasco sauce in the water system. Boom, one blow up. Boom, another blow up. 16 people quit this practice in less than 60 days. 16 people. That's not okay. Their patient satisfaction scores declined 3.2 out of 5, 20% revenue loss due to therapist burnout, fragmented care in their one therapist per patient model. And guess what? Practice owner calls me one day and says, hey, Brandon, I've been listening to your podcast. I've seen you speak at APTA and I'm calling for help. I said, okay. And he said, you know that game show where it's like dial that 911 friend? This is what I need. I'm like, okay, no worries. Talk to me. Give it to me. And he goes, I'm having trouble with staff retention. And I'm like, okay. And I said, talk to me about this. And he's like, well, we hired and we grew too fast. And therapists today, they just don't get it. And he starts knocking on like, it's just not the way that it used to be. And I'm like, so let's step back. And the first thing I said is, let's shift our viewpoint from therapists today don't know to I am no longer in sync with therapists today. Take responsibility. And so we wanted to make a paradigm shift. So we implemented a collaborative team approach where each patient works with a primary therapist, an exercise physiologist, and a therapy technician with weekly interdisciplinary case conferences, and shared treatment plans. And I want to be clear. I know a lot of you disagree with this model, but one thing you don't know is that we utilized a team approach. We went from one to one to this because we found that there was a outlier in the way that we clinically treated, and our team approach was able to bring skill sets that our physical therapists didn't always have. And so in this transformation, we basically created a team structure innovation, and we created integrated care pods, and they 3 to 4 professionals shared these caseloads. We rotated specialties. All of this billing compliance was up on par. So I just want to make sure you know we were not billing for anything we couldn't bill. We had all the compliance in place. But the idea of why I'm sharing this case study is we recognized that care pods would not only increase the way that care was delivered because of the way we were going to bring different skill sets to the patient, but we recognized that our therapists would be more in alignment. We'd be able to build uniformity, but also alignment to the mission and purpose. And so by bringing this together, we rotated specialties, cross training in multiple treatment modalities. We eliminated silos. We reduced individual therapist workload. So that burnout actually changed as a result because we were able to allow them to be able to be more patient focused, but not burn out. And we also integrated some neat technology. So we deployed um, prompt EMR, allowing real-time updates, progress tracking, seamless communication, and that technology was a game changer. And I'm not endorsing prompt, but I'm just being honest. That system was a game changer for this practice. So all of a sudden, employee retention rate, staff turnover dropped. We were down to it was an 18% turnover, um, but it was better. Therapists were reporting 40% higher job satisfaction due to reduced caseload pressure, professional collaboration, and opportunities for skill development. Okay. The patient engagement results are what I was most proud of. What we were able to do was we were able to take patient satisfaction to a 4.6 out of 5, with 85% of patients reported. They actually said, I feel more supported and I feel understood. There were multiple touch points and consistent communication across the care team. All of a sudden, we noticed a huge spike in the clinical outcomes as well. So the functional outcome scores improved by 32%. Discharge goals were met 23% faster, and patient compliance with an HEP home exercise program increased from 45% to 78% engagement of the HEP program follow through. And that was due to the reinforced messaging across the different team members. The other thing that was really, in my opinion, impressive, there was an operational efficiency gain. So we actually reduced our no-show rate by 22 from 22% to 8%. So we had a 22% no-show cancellation in less than 24-hour rate. We reduced that to 8% through enhanced patient relationships while increasing daily patient volume by 15% without adding staff through optimized scheduling and care coordination. And it really did create also financial performance. So revenue ended up increasing 28% year over year, despite initial team training investments. And this was driven by higher patient retention, 89% versus 67%, increased referrals, and expanded service offerings across team specialties. And so now, 2 years post implementation, clinic expanded to 3 locations using the same model, therapists actively recruiting colleagues, and patient wait times reduced from 3 weeks to 5 days due to improved reputation and efficiency. I mean, home run. And here's the bottom line final impact numbers. Practices with strong team approaches see 23% higher profitability. I'm going to say that again. Research is showing us that private practices with a strong team approach see a 23% higher profitability. We are seeing employee satisfaction scores increase by an average of 34%. We are seeing patient retention rates improve by 28%, and we're seeing referral rates on average by 19%. This stuff makes a difference. Your team approach isn't just about making work more pleasant. It directly impacts your practice's clinical outcomes, financial performance, and long-term sustainability. And so I just think you got to resonate that sometimes we look at team as rah-rah, but building a team creates results. Even when we look at individual sports and the Olympics, those individual athletes claim that the team that travel and train together and uniform and build together is one of the most crucial aspects of their success. Did you know that small businesses implementing a team-based approach with collaborative task delegation across staff achieved a 38% higher operational efficiency, 22% improvement in project delivery effectiveness compared to those with individualized workflows? That's from the Chamber of Commerce. They put this out there. They're showing the facts. And so, in the words of one of my favorite authors, Patrick Lencioni, a team approach weaves individual strengths into a collective success. Define it clearly, and your business will rise on the power of unity. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Seigel. I am here to co-create with each and every one of you because together we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.